Since the beginning of time, humanity has been plagued by natural disasters. Every year, hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis claim the lives of about 60,000 people. The United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, estimates that 150 million people have been adversely affected by these disasters, and that billions of dollars have been donated internationally to help the affected nations. The Emergency Events Database has counted 7,348 natural disasters worldwide alone in the last 20 years. Hello everyone, welcome to AWZ. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Enjoy. Volcano. On the island of Sumbawa, which is now in modern-day Indonesia, Mount Tambora erupted in 1815. According to historians, it was the volcanic eruption with the deadliest direct impact ever recorded. Approximately 100,000 people perished right away. After Tambora, there was a 3-year period of climate change. For 3 years, the climate in the planet increased colder and underwent a dramatic transformation. So, from Asia to the US to Europe, there was widespread crop failure and starvation. If a volcano's eruption is strong enough to send gases into the stratosphere, it has the potential to affect global weather patterns. This gas moves down the equator and disperses toward the poles after becoming trapped because it is too high to be wiped away by rain. As a result, less heat from the sun is transferred through the stratosphere. This has a significant impact on your ecosystem, which goes beyond whether or not you should wear a sweater. Cooling temperatures brought on by Tambora's eruption caused diminished rainfall, ruined crops, and widespread hunger in many parts of the world. According to Yale University professor of classics and history Joseph Manning, the indirect impacts of volcanoes are far more destructive than the direct impact. With the help of technology, we can now more accurately predict when volcanic eruptions will happen, allowing us to plan for evacuations and other safety precautions, as was the case when flights were canceled in advance of the Mount Agung eruption in Bali in 2017, or when the Philippines started evacuating residents near Mount Mayon in the Philippines in January 2018 before a major eruption. Earthquake. The worst earthquake ever recorded occurred in Shanxi, China, in 1556. 830,000 individuals are thought to have died as a result. The 2010 Haitian earthquake that struck near Port-au-Prince claimed more lives than twice as many people. According to reports, 316,000 people perished as a result. The 2004 Sumatra earthquake and tsunami and the 2010 Port-au-Prince earthquake rank among the deadliest in recorded human history. Nevertheless, some of the most tragic incidents happened a very long time ago. The earthquake in Antakya, Turkey, in the year 115 made the top 3. Near the top of the list are both very current and ancient items. Throughout our history, the threat of devastating earthquakes has persisted. An earthquake is the shaking of the Earth's surface caused by a sudden release of energy in the Earth's lithosphere, which generates seismic waves. It is also referred to as a quake, tremor, or trembler. Earthquakes can range in strength from those that are so small that no one can feel them to those that are so powerful that they upend entire cities and send people and objects flying. The number, kind, and size of earthquakes that occur in a region over a specific time period is known as its seismic activity. The average rate of seismic energy release per unit volume is what is known as seismicity at a specific region on Earth. Tremors, which are not earthquakes, are also referred to as seismic rumbling. Earthquakes cause the ground to shake, move, or otherwise be disturbed at the Earth's surface. The bottom may be sufficiently moved to generate a tsunami when a big earthquake's epicenter is offshore. Landslides can also be brought on by earthquakes. Tsunami. On Boxing Day of 2004, a tsunami in the Indian Ocean killed more people than any other. The death toll from the tsunami, which affected people in 14 countries and left over 230,000 dead, was the highest ever recorded. Indonesia was the country hardest devastated, followed by Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand. The devastating waves that were caused by the enormous underwater earthquake, which had a magnitude of up to 9.3, were up to 98 feet high. There have been occasions when individuals have thought they could influence nature, but that dates back a long time. Both an earthquake and the ensuing wave cannot be avoided. Additionally, the exact moment it occurs cannot be foreseen or calculated. What is possible, though, is an early warning to the local populace, as this can reduce the number of victims. A human life is the most valuable thing in the world. There is plenty of time to warn the populace because it takes only minutes or possibly hours from the moment an earthquake is detected before the first tsunami wave strikes the shore. A succession of waves in a body of water created by the displacement of a significant amount of water, typically in an ocean or a sizable lake, is known as a tsunami or tidal wave, also known as a seismic sea wave. A tsunami is frequently brought on by large, underwater earthquakes at tectonic plate borders. When the ocean floor at a plate boundary suddenly rises or falls, the water above it is displaced, which causes the rolling waves that will constitute a tsunami to be launched. Most tsunamis occur within the Ring of Fire of the Pacific Ocean, a geologically active region where volcanoes and earthquakes are frequent due to tectonic movements. Around 80% of tsunamis and 90% of earthquakes worldwide respectively happen along the Ring of Fire. Cyclone. Today marks the 50th anniversary of Cyclone Bola, the deadliest tropical cyclone in recorded history, which may have killed as many as 500,000 people in what is now Bangladesh. It eventually established the groundwork for the WMO's tropical cyclone program and sparked calls for action to stop another loss of life as terrible. On November 12 to 13, 1970, Cyclone Bola, which developed from a depression in the southern central Bay of Bengal, made landfall in what was then East Pakistan. It killed between 300,000 and 500,000 people, largely because low-lying islands and tidal flats along the Bay of Bengal's coasts were overwhelmed by a significant storm surge. Bola is the deadliest tropical cyclone ever recorded, according to the World Weather and Climate Extremes Archive of the WMO. Numerous United Nations resolutions were passed in response to the catastrophe, as were requests to identify ways and measures to prevent the devastating impacts of tropical cyclones. Bangladesh became a global leader in catastrophe risk reduction and resilience thanks to its large, low-lying coastal plains and dense population. Even in the early phases of their formation, tropical cyclones pose one of the greatest risks to property and human life. They comprise a variety of dangers, such as storm surge, flooding, extremely strong winds, tornadoes, and lightning, each of which has the potential to have a severe negative impact on life and property. Together, these risks combine and significantly raise the possibility of fatalities and property damage. Flood. The Huanghe floods, a series of catastrophic floods in China brought on by the Huanghe, Yellow River, the second longest river in the nation, overflowed. These three floods are regarded as the deadliest floods in history and among the most catastrophic natural disasters ever documented since they jointly claimed millions of lives. The Bohai, Gulf of Chile, an embayment of the Yellow Sea, is where the Huanghe empties into. It is the principal river of northern China and has a length of 3,395 miles, 5,464 kilometers. It originates in the eastern Kunlun Mountains in Qinghai Province in the west of the country and flows primarily east. The river's name derives from the copious amounts of fine, yellow sediment, loess, that give the water its color. The North China Plain and the vast tracts of flat terrain surrounding it have always been especially vulnerable to floods due to the significant silt deposition in the river's lower reaches. Since the 2nd century BCE, the Huanghe, the world's most heavily silted river, is said to have flooded 1,500 times, resulting in enormous death and destruction. The worst of these floods, which totally submerged 34,000 square miles of land and partially flooded an additional 8,000 square miles, 21,000 square kilometers, of land in August 1931, rendered 80 million people homeless. The flood and the subsequent sickness and starvation are estimated to have killed between 850,000 and 4 million people, making it the greatest natural calamity in recorded history. Up to 2 million people may have perished in an earlier storm in September-October 1887, a third flood on June 9, 1938, is reported to have killed 900,000 people. In an effort to block the advance of the invading Japanese forces during the Sino-Japanese War of 1937 to 1945, Chinese nationalist forces led by Chiang Kai-shek destroyed the dikes close to Kaifeng, Hunan Province, which led to the flood of 1938. In 1946 to 1947, the dikes were restored, and the river was redirected to follow its previous path so that it once more emptied into the Bohai. This is all for today. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe our channel. Stay tuned with AWZ.